Welcome to Doomsday T on DC this week. And right off the bat, let's just talk about the DC Extended Universe. I usually lead with that anyway, so this is going to be a little controversial, but I'm going to throw my little scenario, my little theory out there for you. So, we all know ENDgame, and deservingly so. You know, Marvel has built a cinematic universe of 22 movies, and they've put a bow on it and finished well with a wonderful movie that has throwbacks to all the older movies or the Avenger movies. They did it well, and I've had people throw out. I saw it, and I thought it at the end of the movie too. Well, what if the Russo brothers did a Justice League movie? Okay, now, so before I maybe answer that, or even if I do, you know how I am. I want to talk about a couple interesting things I noticed about ENDgame. First, I'm not the only person to notice that the last fight resembled the old gods fight in Justice League. The look of it, everything about it resembled the old gods fight. And of course, we were missing Darkseid and Ares. They clipped that out. Joss Whedon did, and Warner Brothers did, which I think Whedon did. Now, I'm getting ready to go deep on conspiracy. I hadn't heard anybody else say this. This is me. So you had Whedon that worked on Justice League that is obviously friends with Russo. And they're all friends. I'm sure even Zack Snyder is friends with the Russo brothers. Or all those people are in the industry. A lot of them know each other. But like I said, I'm getting ready to go deep here. What if Whedon passed on to the Russos what Snyder had planned? Because Whedon had to know what Snyder had planned. And that was similar, how that was shot, how all that went down. And another thing that I caught, there was a couple other similarities. Now that things are trickling out about Snyder's vision and what he was going to do, we were going to deal with some time travel and stuff, because Batman vs. Superman, you had Batman asleep, Flash from the future pops in, tries to warn him, loses the key, I'm too soon, and then he goes back to the future. Okay. It was let out that Cyborg, Batman, and Flash had Lois at the Batcave. Darkseid boom tubes into the Batcave, kills Lois, boom tubes out, and so that's why Batman, Cyborg, Flash all come up with this scenario of going back in time, sending Flash back in time to warn Batman so he knows what to do. And the key to that was there was wormholes, or there was doors, or whatever the deal was, just like it looked whenever Marvel went back in time to get the Infinity Stones. You had you had these holes that you had to go through to get to wherever you needed to go. Well, of course, in the Justice League movie, Flash picks the wrong one. I can't remember the scenario. Batman tells him to pick this or that or whatever, and if you pick the wrong one, then you get what we saw in Batman vs. Superman, which was Flash too early and too soon. He didn't come at the right time to warn him. But there was a few things that I thought was very interesting. I felt like, did Whedon, was there a little bit of sabotage with Whedon? I mean, I never thought that before, but whenever I watched the ENDgame, there was definitely a few things that I thought they took that from Zack, or that, this is a little bit familiar. Like I said, I'm diving deep on your conspiracy theories, but it's just another reason to release the Snyder Cut. Give us the Snyder Cut. I wish we'd have got his vision. I said it before. He was going to pull an Alan Moore, but in a cinematic universe, and he was going to do his own thing, and he was going to use these characters that we all love and adore, and he was going to do something a little different with them and create a story, in 3 Justice League movies. And the thing about it we haven't talked about is, we'd have probably got Shazam and maybe some Bat family members in a 3rd Justice League movie. We would have had some deaths and some other things happen. Um, but not the ENDgame is some copy or some whatever, but there were some things that I'm not the only one to notice that reminded me of Justice League. So, okay. Um, Enough about that, I guess, in my conspiracy theories. But while we're talking about the DC extended universe, James Gunn, he released a picture that he was working on. This was this week. He was working on the new Suicide Squad movie, and he was doing his storyboards, and he was saying like, "Oh, his precious storyboards, how I missed them," or something. Um, Looked like the drawing on there could have been like it's definitely like a monstrous looking thing. Could have been Clayface. Could have been King Shark. Um, could have been some weird killer croc. I don't know. Who knows? Could have been Copperhead. I don't know. But he had a drawing there. So, but everybody's made a big deal out of it. But hey, like I said, we all knew ENDgame was going to take up the news this week and next week. And that's, like I said, man, Marvel wrapped it up, put a nice bow on it, and sent it on down the line. I think those Spider-Man Far From Home actually ends phase 3, and they start phase 4. But anyway, love the James Gunn Suicide Squad. And one thing that I haven't talked about as far as Snyder movies go and the DC Extended Universe, and that is Man of Steel. And the only thing in Man of Steel I think that was controversial, and it took me a minute to get over it. And once I heard Zach explain it, I thought that was cool. That was a good switch, a good change. But it was that, Jonathan Kent didn't die of a heart attack like natural causes, something that Superman couldn't have prevented. But instead, he had told his son, because he didn't want the government taking him and maybe probing him and doing tests, and then it'd be this mess or whatever. He didn't, so he died in a natural event, a tornado. But of course, Clark could have saved him. But there was all kinds of people around. People would have definitely known at that point. It would have been reported that his kids got powers or whatever. He would have had to be on the run at that point. To me, that was the only thing in that movie that was different. But it was still kind of a natural cause thing. And it was also, they just had a fight. There was a father and son thing. And then it was a love thing. Anyway, but Man of Steel, if you've not saw that movie, or if you haven't saw it in a while and you didn't like it, go back and watch it again. Because let me tell you, that movie holds up. It's the best Superman movie ever. And don't get me wrong, I say that. The Christopher Reeves Superman movies are wonderful, and they hold up as well. I recently have watched 1 and 2 again. Listen, they hold up. I hadn't saw them in a little while, and I thought, oh man, all these comic book movies have come out now, and am I still going to like these movies? Oh, heck yes. The old Superman movies are awesome. But like I said, in this new world of superhero movies, go back and watch Man of Steel. Man, the action scenes at the end of that movie are still wonderful. And the world building machines, man, that's been on cartoons. That's been in comic books since the 60s. And people were, complained about that, like it was too much, or it was freaking awesome, taking the cars and the debris and everything down and just smashing it down or whatever. I mean, come on, man. It was the best thing I ever saw. I mean, like, to see the World Machines doing in a live action movie, I mean, what we've got is incredible, and people want to complain. I can't believe people complain about Man of Steel and complain about what What? Y'all have lost your minds, man. Man of Steel is an A1 movie. I mean, might be the best one of all. Don't get me wrong. She sounds great. Aquaman is wonderful. I love it. Wonder Woman's wonderful. Batman, they're all wonderful. I love them all. Man of Steel, guys, come on. You hate Man of Steel? That movie, and it's not in chronological order. You get some flashbacks, but, he pretty much is a young man, in the movie, and he's finding his way as Superman. What a great movie. But I just wanted to mention that because I mentioned it with the Snyder and everything. You know what Snyder has gave us is a lot better than I think people give him credit. And like I said, Justice League's not his fault. It's on Warner Brothers. What Warner Brothers pulled on Suicide Squad, pulling the Parademons and the Steppenwolf storyline as being the ultimate villains. That was dirty, dirty. And doing what they did to Snyder with his daughter and how they went about it, and they brought Whedon in like they did, that was dirty. They should have left well enough alone and kept Whedon away and let him do his Batgirl movie or whatever he wanted to do. Should have left well enough alone and should have let Zack do what he wanted to do. Yes, it wasn't Marvel, but we were getting progression. We were getting. It was a slower developing thing, and plus we were just beginning. I said Marvel's 22 movies in, and we were getting a Justice League a few movies in. It was great. Everybody needed to chill. Warner Brothers needed to chill, let it play out. But instead, they ruined it. Justice League didn't do as well as it should have, and we got what we got. But like I said, there was stuff in ENDgame. Man, it was a little questionable. I thought, and people don't keep up with DC, unless you're a DC in it. They don't understand. They don't realize. And they just go along their merry way, and Marvel's, wonderful, and they're brainwashed like everybody else. And like I said, I ain't got no problem with it, but I don't know. It was a little shady to me. I don't know if this is considered in the DC extended universe. Maybe I need a TV time or so, whatever. I don't. Anyway, I'm just going to keep some of this news in in my DC extended universe. How about that, y'all? So, first of all, once again, if you're not watching Doom Patrol, do it. So I'm going to say about that. I don't want to go on and on about it. Another thing, we did have some news on Swamp Thing. I think they were going to do 13 episodes, and they come out. They're going to cut it to 10, and they want 10 to be like a finale or whatever. It looks great, man. They put this little small teaser of it, and I'm not a big Swamp Thing fan or whatever. I don't know a whole lot about Swamp Thing, but that teaser made me want to watch it for sure. And people were disappointed, man. Some of the actors, actresses that are involved in it, they loved what they were doing. They were very disappointed. So we'll see how that goes. I think I mentioned last week about them. They're going to mix their the DC streaming service just in with, like, I guess, Warner Brothers on streaming service. So you're going to have like HBO, the DC Universe, and Warner Brothers all in in their own streaming service, which is fine. I mean, whatever, they can absorb that. And and honestly, if I'm going to pay for that, cool. Give me the Warner Brothers stuff. Give me the HBO stuff. Give me the DC stuff. I'm getting more bang for my buck, and I'm still going to get all my DC, content. So I'm not sad about that. The only thing I'm sad about, I just wonder why they cut the Swamp Thing. And that's a big question. But anyway, that's some news there. And something else I wanted to cover, and speaking of Man of Steel and Superman, is I just started to tag on the sci-fi, the Krypton show. And if you're a Superman fan, you gotta love it, right? I was hooked from the beginning. I love it when I get hooked on something. One thing I like about this is I think it's only like 10 episodes. These 22, 24, 25 episodes sometimes gets a little long and gets a little drawn out. Sometimes I like a good just 10, 12, maybe 15 if it's good enough, but give me 10, 12 episodes a season and get out of there. Get me another season, keep me, don't draw stuff out. But if you're not watching Krypton, you're missing out. If you're a Superman fan, you're missing out. I'm only a few episodes in, and like I said, man, I'm hooked on this. I'm looking forward to the next episode, as I watch. So definitely wanted to bring that up because I've definitely neglected that show, and that show is incredible. So check it out, Superman fans. You will love it. You will love it. And in Comic Book Corner this week, I was wanting to talk about the honestly, I want. I know I do this sometimes in comic book corner. Maybe I shouldn't, but I wanted to just kind of talk about the rise of Nightwing. I think some people don't know that story, and I'm probably getting ready to butcher it. But Robin as he got older, I know he went to college and he dropped out, but there was this whole, he was just kind of in between. He didn't want to be a sidekick anymore. I think him and Tim Drake were friends. Eventually he pushed Drake onto Batman after Todd's death. But anyway, whenever everything was going down with Dick and Bruce, um, it's just like it was just a coming of age, and I loved how that Grayson would turn to Superman for you know uh, like mentorship or just for answers or just to talk to and of course I don't know, most people don't realize of course Superman told him the story of a kind of a loner guy back on Krypton that was kind of like a vigilante or a hero there, and his name was Nightwing. And Robin ended up taking that from Superman, and that's how we got Nightwing. That's how he got his name, was from Superman. I always thought that was cool, and not like if you were guessing. I don't know. I just don't think that would be something that people would have guessed. But anyway, I remember the comic having. I remember like Dick had his Robin suit in a box, or had a Nightwing suit, and him switching out, and he was around the Teen Titans at the time. And I was trying to think. You had when the Teen Titans first started. It was all the sidekicks like Red Arrow, Roy Harper, and Aqualad, and Wally West Flash, and then eventually you got Donna Troy, which was considered like Wonder Woman's sidekick. And then of course eventually you got Starfire, and then in the 80s, whenever you got Raven, that's what brought it all back around and brought Robin back around, and you got like I guess a new kind of Teen Titans from there. They regrouped, and that's of course whenever you did get Nightwing, and he broke away from the Robin moniker, and of course Jason Todd had took over as Robin at that point anyway. I mean he was definitely kind of in between, and it was a cool little thing, especially for that time period. I always just felt like you had to get through a lot of stuff, kind of like these TV shows. You had to get through a lot of crap to get the stuff that was important, and all that kind of changed as comics went on, and things didn't draw out as much, or at least your stories were more efficient and compact, and you got arcs and cool things that happened that changed, like universe changing things or whatever. Anything could happen at any moment. But back then, to have that kind of change and to build up like it did, and for him to eventually become Robin, and all that was brought about too because of Deathstroke. Gosh, did he have everybody captured? What was the deal? Daggone it, y'all! Look for it. I'll have it. I'll figure it out. I'll have to Google it or something. But there was something to do with Deathstroke. But that was Raven. I don't know. But anyway, if you can get those, I don't know. I wish the DC would do a compilation, because all that, like to me, all that carried on. It wasn't as cut and dry. Like it did kind of carry on for a while until he finally, made the decision of being Nightwing and going forward with that. But all those comics are cool, especially for the time period, the early '80s, early mid '80s. And of course, I guess that was, that was this year. It was this year. I just saw this. Was that yesterday? The anniversary of Jason Todd getting killed by the Joker. And I remember it was on the radio, like in the mornings going to school. It was on whatever radio show, morning show. They had brought it up, and they talked about the kind of the voting on whether he would die or not, and it was pretty close. And Anyway, we got death in the family, and which is a great read if you haven't read it, and that you can't get in paperback. But anyway, I'm going to leave Comic Book Corner there. Just if you get a chance, actually get the comic book and read the coming of age of Dick Grayson and him becoming Nightwing. And there was times he wanted to quit. There was a couple times he wanted to quit. Whenever Barbara Gordon got shot by the Joker in Killing Joke, and she was paralyzed, Robin didn't know what to do. Dick Grayson didn't know what to do. And they were getting ready. He proposed. He would propose marriage to her. But and then of course he went on, and him and Starfire had their little fling. And I love Nightwing. His stories to me are wonderful, and Bloodhaven and Blockbuster and all those stories are awesome. And maybe I'll cover some of that in depth. I've kind of cheesed out on this today on the Comic Book Corner, but I'll go back and in my comics and look. All my Nightwings, I've got every Nightwing put out, even except for like whatever they've done in Rebirth. I don't know. I'm not caught up on Rebirth, but I am caught up on Nightwing in 52. But moving on, trying to not ramble on too much. I've talked for 2 weeks about this, T's Toys and this whole show and tell thing. So whenever I did the MEGO doll, and I brought out my old MEGO dolls from the 70s that I do have, those were some of my first toys. And I had the monsters. I had like the Dracula, Wolfman Frankenstein, whatever. I had the Universal monsters back then too, like in the MEGO dolls. And I had the Hulk and the Spider-Man, and I still have the Spider-Man. I think I have the Hulk, but I've actually got the Spider Buggy, which is pretty rare. But going back to the DC and the Megas, so I was trying to think, had I bought some of the newer ones whenever I showed? I think I did. I think I bought like Darkseid or something. But that kicked off my crazy DC loving butt, and I didn't buy, of course, all of them that are out, but I pretty much bought the whole Legion of Doom, or I did buy the whole Legion of Doom, I guess, at least everything that was out. Samurai and El Dorado is the only thing I think that I don't have that was in there. I haven't got the Wonder Twins, which I probably will get the Wonder Twins because I like them. But not right now. I think I've spent too much money on what I did buy. But of course, some of them I got loose, and I didn't have to pay as much. But what I wanted to comment about those dolls and why I like them so much is I love the clothing. I love the way they're made, and they're not big. They're not like the bigger like the GI Joes or like how a Barbie doll is. They're not that big. They're 8-inch around that. And like I said, I love the clothing. I love how some of the clothing feels and how it is. Like on the Wonder Woman, I took from a gold ribbon or a ribbon that had like the gold string kind of on it, and I made her a lasso of truth because I don't think that it didn't come with her or whatever. So I had to make her a lasso, and I thought that was cool. It looks cool. And anyway, I got Black Vulcan. He's awesome. Apache Chief. I got some of the cool. Grodd's awesome. He's soft, like he's furry or whatever. And like I say, he looks just like they all look just like they did in the old 60s, 70s, 80s. Super Friends cartoon. I'm so in love with these stupid figures. Now some of them are different and a little more quality made. Like the Batgirl I got was from like a. Was she? No, I didn't get that from the TV series, but those TV series ones, like the Adam West TV series of MEGO dolls. Of course, all these were just made a couple years ago. The capes are real thick. They're real quality. They're not like those thin, nylon feeling, canvasy feeling capes from the 70s. This Batgirl, I think there's like a Bat Family series that went out because there was like a Two-Face, which I don't have Two-Face, but I don't have a Catwoman. Those are two that I just can't. I bought so much, I just can't even stomach buying them right this second. But anyway, the Cheetah, I got Cheetah. Oh, what I was saying, the quality on those, like And all the quality on the newer ones are great. Don't get me wrong, but there's definitely a certain quality to that Batman series, the two Batman series from the TV and the regular. Their clothing, the figures are made better. They're thicker. Just the feel of them, everything about them. On like say like the Black or Black Vulcan, Black Lightning. I mean, come on, it's Black Lightning, but Black Vulcan. The only thing about some of those is like on the arms and the glove or the hand or glove part, like they don't have gloves. I mean, it looks like a glove, but actually that pulls off and it's just a ball. Like they don't have hands. Like on like my Robin figure, he's got a glove or Batman's got a glove. He's got hands. You know, if you take those gloves off, they've got hands. But like some of the other ones, what they did is they made their hands and painted and covered the gloves, and they just put the cuffs on, you know, permanent. Like that's how they did like the Sinestro. And he's the only one that I got. I got him in the Sinestro suit because I just did, or in the like the Sinestro core suit. Do I regret that? Not really, but it probably would have been cool if I guess I would have kept it uniform and had him in like the purple black suit from the Super Friends. But regardless, I thought it was kind of cool to have him in the Sinestro core suit just because I love that story. I love that comic. So, but I can't say enough about them. The Scarecrow's cool. Like I said Cheetah's cool. They're all cool. Black Mana's cool. I thought the Martian Manhunter, he's kind of a throwback, but he feels cool. Like the way they made his suit, and it's really like his skin, but it's really a suit or whatever. It's just like Wonder Woman, but just something about them, man. I love everything about the way they feel, the way just everything about those Mega Dolls. I don't know what it is about them. I'm obsessed with them. I'm obsessed with them. I'm silly. What am I doing? I'm an old man and obsessed with these DC Mega Doll toys. What is wrong with me? Anyway, I love this stuff though, and you know, and I love everything. Like I said, we get the comics, the toys, the movies, and like I said, people that complain and argue over this stuff. Like I mean, used to years ago on the internet, I would troll people. I'd troll Marvel people, just troll them. I didn't mean anything by it because I love it. I've seen every Marvel movie and I love all those characters. Like I said, I just made a decision whenever I was younger that I can't afford to buy both, so I'm gonna stick with DC because I like DC. I like their characters a little bit, just a hair, or I like more of their characters more than I like, you know, some Marvel characters or whatever. And I like DC's villains. Overall, DC has a crop of awesome villains between Flash, Batman, Superman, all that, Wonder Woman. I mean, with Marvel, you know, they share some. Of course, DC shares them too. But Spider-Man has a cool, you know, his Sinister Six or whatever. All that's really cool. You know, there's definitely they have their quality villains too. I don't, you know, I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm not. I just like DC, and that's what I went with. But let's see. I think that might do it this week. Let me make sure I covered everything that I wanted to. All right, yeah, that's going. That's going to wrap it up this week. And as always, I appreciate everybody that watches. And it seems like I've got a good firm, you know, set of people that watch. And I do appreciate it. Like I said, I could ramble on about this stuff all day. It amazes me how quick I get to 30 minutes like this. I thought I could do this in 15, 20 minutes, but, you know, I'm definitely going to be around the 30-minute mark. Y'all, you better be good or be good at it. We'll see you next week on Doomsday T on DC. Bye.